Hey guys, okay look, this is gonna be a super easy grammar lesson today, which is why it's not on Zoom, okay? You are gonna hear me talk a lot. Sorry, love you. Okay, but all you're gonna do is exercise 27, okay, not 28. I'm looking at 28, and yesterday I was like so optimistic, like, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. And then I look at it again today and I'm like, oh, it's horrible, what a horrible exercise. So don't do exercise 28, you're just gonna do exercise 27. Wow, like Kay passed you. So while you're in this video, get out this book. Do it. Don't act like you're gonna do it and just look at me. Get out the book. Okay, because look, all I'm gonna do, this grammar lesson is to help you with your writing, okay? It's improving your writing skills, that's all it is, okay? The section is called Unity. You're gonna be rewriting each of the following sentences in order to affect sentence unity, okay? So that means just write it better. That's all that means. They wrote it to where it's kind of confusing, you don't really know what they're talking about. You need to find a way to write it well, okay? Here in the book on page 84, they give you 5 tips on how you can write better, okay? So we're gonna read through those tips. I'm gonna tell you some pointers that you can apply to your next writing, you know, summary of the Bible and different stuff like that. And then you can use it for these 5 sentences. Also though, these 5 sentences, it would do you well to go to page number 23 and look at 3.66. 3.66 gives you your list of subordinating conjunctions. It would be good for you to rewrite these sentences, some of them at least, using subordinating conjunctions to make one part more important, one part less important, right? Okay, to start out speaking. Like for instance, because I am tired today, I will not be working a lot. Okay, because this is a subordinating conjunction, because I am tired today, what's the most important thing? I will not be working a lot. Okay, that's a sentence. Some of the sentences here you're gonna have to write, you're gonna have to take let's speak again. You're gonna have to take a compound sentence and make it into 2 sentences, because really the thoughts aren't together and they don't really relate well enough for them to be a compound sentence. So you separate them, okay? So some of them you're gonna use subordinating conjunctions. Some of them you're gonna write into 2 sentences. So you do what you think will make them more understandable and unified, okay? Let's look at the 5 tips and you'll be on your way. Look at 15.1 on 84. It says unity means oneness. Oneness of thought and of purpose. Okay, so think about that. When you're trying to unify sentences, they should be in thought and in purpose. In order for a sentence to have unity, number 1, its statements must be closely related. So if you're gonna put something in a compound sentence, it should be closely related. Okay, if it's not, then put it in 2 sentences. Number 2, the relationship of the statements must be clear. And number 3, the statements must compose only one thought. Okay, there you go. Let's look at 15.2. Do not put unrelated ideas into the same sentence. That's what we were just talking about. If the ideas are not closely related, make them separate sentences. If the ideas are not related at all, eliminate one of them. Okay, so if they're somewhat similar so they can be in the same paragraph, just make them 2 sentences. But if they're completely different, then you need to eliminate one, because you're not talking about the same thing and your whole paragraph's going to be off, okay? In this one, you're really only going to find 1 sentence that needs to be separated into 2. Okay, I'm not going to tell you which one. You got to find it in your exercise. So look at the examples. It says, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, and his invention was the result of many years of scientific study. Yes, they're related, but they're not one thought, okay? So they don't need to be in 1 sentence together. So separate it. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Next sentence, his invention was the result of many years of scientific study. Okay, there you go. Now look, is there like one right and wrong answer completely? No. The only thing here in this exercise is that you can't look at them and say like, no, actually, Micheska, I really like how the sentences are written. No, you can't say that. But other than that, there's no right and wrong answer, like everyone has to have the same sentences. Look at 15.3. Make sure the relationship between ideas is immediately clear, okay? Like, look at the first one. We were going to school and we saw a possum. You saw the possum when you were going to school, or you just saw the possum right now? It's not really clear when they saw the possum, right? So look what you can do to fix it. As we were going to school, we saw a possum. Ooh, much better. Okay, much better, because now you know when they saw the possum. Look at the next one. They wanted to maintain good health, and they started an exercise program. Did they start the exercise program because they wanted to maintain good health, or it's just like an unrelated thought? What's going on here? Well, look what you can do. To maintain good health, stating the purpose, they started an exercise program. Yeah, and now we understand, right? Okay, look at 15.4. The length of a sentence does not necessarily affect its unity. A very long sentence may have unity, whereas a short sentence may not. Okay, so it doesn't matter how long it is. It just needs to be unified. Let's look at these. If we resort for a criterion to the different principles on which different forms of government are established, we may define a republic to be, or at least may bestow that name on, a government which derives all its powers directly or indirectly from the great body of the people, and is ministered by persons holding their offices during pleasure for a limited period or during good behavior. So while this sentence has 68 words, it says it has unity because it's talking about the government, okay, and the criteria of that. However, look at the next sentence. Dressed in a blue suit, he voted against the bill. Yep, doesn't make any sense. Like, did the blue suit have anything with how you voted? We don't know. It's short, but it's not unified. Okay, so it has to have one purpose and be closely related. Remember that. Look at 15.5. Do not introduce so many details that the central thought of this sentence is obscured. Okay, that one's important because we like to put a lot of details. Some of us do, okay? So look what it says. If the details are relevant and necessary, put them into other sentences. Look at this one. First of all, we're going to be looking at what we're looking for in the sentence. It says at the bottom in the parentheses, this sentence contains details which obscure the central thought. Okay, let's look what it says. Early in the morning of May 1st, long before sunrise, Admiral Dewey with his fleet of 8 warships consisting of the Olympia, which was the flagship, the Boston, the Petrel, the Concord, the Philadelphia, the Baltimore, the Raleigh, and the revenue cutter McCulloch, silently entered the harbor of Manila and was not detected by the Spaniards until he was well past the forts guarding the entrance. Okay, like, I honestly would look at that and my head would hurt and I would have no idea what name they wanted us to focus on, right? So you don't need to throw a bunch of names in there. If he wanted to name all the ships, he needed to do that in another sentence where he stated that's what he's doing, not just like as a positive phrase, like, oh, and by the way, let me name all the ships for you. Okay, so too many details loses the main thought. Look at the next sentence though. This one's better. It says, long before sunrise on the morning of May 1st, Admiral Dewey silently entered the harbor of Manila with his fleet of 8 warships. Whew, much better than the list. Not until he was well past the forts guarding the entrance did the Spanish detect him. Okay? So, all you're doing is making your writing better today. And in this case, you're making somebody else's writing better today. Okay? So, use that list on 3.66, which is page 23, I believe, to unify the sentences, and those that have themes that cannot be unified in one of the sentences, make them into 2. Have fun and let me know if you need any help. Or if you want to send me your sentences and say, hey, does this make sense? Is this what you're talking about? Do these seem better? I'll be glad to help you. It's only 5 of them. It's not like it's going to take that long. Thank you so much. Have a great day.